Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of PDPMO, or Please Don't Piss Me Off. I am once again your host, Richard, and I'd just like to say thank you again for stopping by, talking movies and stuff. I've got an interesting one to review today. I'm going to be reviewing the Star Wars Holiday Special by request. I tried to get out of it by saying that it wasn't actually a movie, but I Googled it and it technically classifies as a movie. And then I was like, hey, but I don't actually have access to a copy, at which point a copy was sent to me. So, Star Wars The Holiday Special. Before I get into it, again, I'd just like to thank everyone for the love and support. It's been incredible. Just keep the suggestions coming. I'm loving it. I get to do my quote research, which is looking at movies and sharing my love of movies with you guys. So yeah, I'm gonna do this for a while. So just to go back, I'm a big Star Wars fan. For those of you who don't know, going forward, I mentioned in my last review that I'll be doing a Star Wars versus Star Trek comparison. That'll be in the next few days, so keep an eye out for that one. But I am a huge Star Wars fan. I had actually never seen the Star Wars Holiday Special. I didn't know really anything about it, just that I had heard that it was terrible. Of course, I mean, anybody who's basically heard of this thing has heard about how bad it is. But I knew nothing about it, so I went in totally blank. So I'm just going to jump right in. So if you don't want to know anything about it, go check it out. I think it's important for all Star Wars fans to watch this, to watch it, because it is truly a marvel to behold. Did it piss me off? No, it didn't. But I think that was because I knew how terrible it was going in. Had I gone in expecting it to be good, it would have really, really pissed me off. So, okay, so I sit down to watch this thing, and it starts with the credits. And I knew I was in for a ride with the okay. I knew I was in for a ride when the credits started. Because we've got Harrison Ford. We've got Mark Hamill. We've got Carrie Fisher. Then they announced Anthony Daniels as C-3PO and R2-D2 as R2-D2. So right off the bat, I'm like, wait, what? So I looked into it because, trust me, I looked into everything I could about this thing after I had seen it. Turns out Kenny Baker, who is the little person who typically is inside R2-D2, did not appear in this, and they used a remote control R2-D2. So I was like, okay, so let's just keep going. And we've got James Earl Jones as the voice of Darth Vader, Peter Mayhew as Chewbacca, and then the credits start getting weird, because they're like, B. Arthur, and I'm like from Golden Girls? Okay, I didn't know she was in it. Art Carney, and I'm like the Honeymooners? Okay. Sure. I mean, he's a talented actor. Harvey Korman. And I'm like, okay, Carol Burnett, funny man, because I know, he can deliver. Jefferson Starship. And I'm like, the band? What? Like, what is happening right now? So I'm like, okay, I don't know what this thing is. So then the movie starts, and you've got Han Solo and Chewbacca in a horribly cheap knockoff set of the Millennium Falcon, and it's interspersed with cutscenes from the actual movie Star Wars Episode 4. And it's obvious, like, you've got the good editing and then you've got the bad set. And so even an actor of Harrison Ford's pedigree is suffering through the scene. But we get the gist of what it is. Han is trying to get Chewbacca home to his family to celebrate Life Day. So this is the holiday that they're trying to get home to. So they're being chased by the Imperials, and that's fine. Okay, so I'm thinking, okay, this is a movie. So then we flash to the to Chewbacca's home, at which point we meet his wife, his son, and his father. The wife's name is Mala, I believe. The father's name is Itchy. I'm sorry. And the son's name is Lumpy. I'm sorry. But okay. So now, again, I looked into everything I could after I had seen this, and apparently these are nicknames. But I guess the people who made this decided that the name they wanted for Chewbacca's son was Lumpy. Okay. So we meet Chewbacca's family, and they are talking to each other in the Wookiee language. Now, there are no subtitles. So, when you're watching a Star Wars movie, if somebody is talking to Chewbacca, he will growl, and they will respond to what he says. And as a viewer, you can be like, oh, he must have said this. But if a Wookiee growls, and the response is a growl, you have no idea what they're talking about. So for the first 10 minutes of the family viewing, it's basically just the three of them growling at each other and having domestic problems. I wish I was making this up. You have to watch this thing. It is amazing. As I wipe the tears from my eyes, I'm barely into this thing. So, Art Carney shows up. And I love Art Carney. I'm a big fan, and he's wonderful. He shows up. He's like a local merchant, and he has gifts for the three family members. And again, at this point, I have no idea what's about to happen. I think this is a straightforward movie. So then he gives the gifts, and Lumpy, I'm going to laugh every time I say his name, gets this thing, and so they open it up, and it's like this view screen. And so everyone kind of gathers around to watch this view screen. And then this weird acrobat circus thing, dance number happens. And it's, a couple minutes long. And then it ends, like it's bizarre. And then it ends. And they move on. And I'm like, that had nothing to do with the storyline of Chewbacca getting home whatsoever. So then we have a look at, I can't remember if it's this scene or the scene after that, but I'm gonna talk about the more disturbing of the two scenes. Chewbacca's father, Itchy, sits down and has this basically a virtual reality thing placed over his head, and it's a place where he can live out his fantasies, because as any Star Wars fan knows, after you watch the first Star Wars movie, the thing we were the most curious about was Chewbacca's father's fantasies, because that's what I wanted to see. So Itchy starts watching this thing, and the singer Diane Carroll comes out, and she's singing this song, and it's unnecessarily sexual. I don't even understand what the point was. But the father, Itchy, is just loving this. So then we see Chewbacca's wife in the kitchen, and we get our first exposure to Harvey Korman, because Mala is trying to cook, and she's watching basically a how-to video with Harvey Korman as a Julia Child type host. And Harvey Korman is dressed in drag and is absolutely like just feasting on this scenery. Like, he is so good and so over the top. That just stir whip, you watch it, it'll stick with you, trust me. So that scene is hilarious, weird. The whole thing is weird, but hilarious. So then the stormtroopers show up because they think it's Chewbacca. But the stormtroopers show up, and the Imperial soldiers come in, and they start like forcing their way around, and whatnot. But then, because again, I'm still like, what's happening in this movie? Like, it's all of a sudden like these just weird little scenes that have nothing to do with the movie. And then I realized this is a variety show, which makes Harvey Korman's inclusion a lot. It makes a lot more sense because of his connection through Carol Burnett. But this is the type of movie this now is. It's just messed up. And so there's one scene like because now what happens is anytime they have to go to a new scene, basically some piece of machinery turns on and everybody like drones just stand there watching the TV, and then all hell breaks loose because here comes Jefferson Starship doing this weird sort of 3D version of one of their hits. And I'm like, okay, but this is like old 3D where it was like all blue and red and stuff like that. But if you don't have the glasses, it just looks messy. And so that's what I'm trying to wrap my brain around still. And then I'm just going to jump ahead to the scene in the cantina, because for those of you who are familiar with Star Wars Episode 4, you had the Mos Eisley Cantina. A lot of the costumes are still they use for this thing as well, except now the bartender's B. Arthur. And Harvey Korman is back, and he's playing an alien who's in love with the bartender, but he misunderstood her intentions. She's just friendly. Basically, the Empire imposes a curfew, and so everybody has to leave. And then B. Arthur sings this like supposedly heart-wrenching song. But it's set to the Cantina Band's music. It's so out there. Okay, so I don't know if you need to smoke weed to watch this. I don't know if you had to have smoked weed to film this, or if you had to smoke weed to write this and come up with this, but I'm pretty sure marijuana was used somewhere along the creative process, because here's what I'm imagining, right? Like, you've got all these people who have all these like great ideas to put in the show, and somebody's like, I've got a great scene. I want Harvey Korman in this. And they're like, okay, we can do that because we're doing a variety show. Great. What I would like to see is him dress up like Julia Childs giving a cooking lesson to Chewbacca's wife. And everyone's like, great, man. That sounds awesome. And then the second guy would be like, well, wait a minute. I wanted Harvey Korman for my scene. And it's like, what's your scene? And the guy would be like, well, I was going to have him play this like malfunctioning android who has to teach Lumpy, I can't get over the name, Lumpy, how to fix a piece of machinery. And they're like, well, yeah, I guess we could do that. And then a third guy's like, wait a minute. I wanted Harvey Korman for my scene. And the guy's like, well, we can't have Harvey Korman in 3 scenes, but tell me, what's your idea? Well, my idea is he's going to be in the cantina from the Star Wars movie, and he's going to fall in love with the bartender who's like, I don't know, B. Arthur, because that's who he wants to fall in love with. And it's like, well, great, but we can't have him dressed up as 3 different aliens. It's like, well, why not? And it's like, well, because we blew our $8 budget on costumes already. So, I mean, how are we going to do that? Well, we'll just have him dressed in normal clothes. And so then the director will be like, well, yeah, how's the audience supposed to know he's an alien? I'm not kidding. Simple. We'll have him drink through a hole in the top of his head. Literally, he pours drinks. He pours drinks into the top of his head. That's how we can tell he's an alien. I don't understand what happened. So we get to the end of the movie. Han and Chewie come back to save the day, blah, blah, blah. The one stormtrooper who stayed behind falls off. They add in the Wilhelm scream. Because it wouldn't be Star Wars without the Wilhelm scream. And so, at the end, all the Wookiees go to this like big festival in the stars, right? And Princess Leia comes out. Oh, sorry. I totally forgot. Early on, there is a scene with Luke Skywalker dressed in his X-Wing thing. I swear to God, that was Mark Hamill's stunt double. Like, it looks like Mark Hamill, but it also really doesn't. Mark Hamill shows up later, and I'm like, that's not the same dude. So, if it was Mark Hamill, he might have found the drugs that they used to make this, because his eyes are messed up. Anyway, so they get to the end. Carrie Fisher sings a lovely, like, celebration song. And I think my favorite part was as the thing draws to a close and they do this dissolve, and then Chewbacca's face is just staring at the screen. And there's no facial, because he's a Wookiee, there's no facial cues or whatever. It's just he's staring at the screen, and all you can see is his eyes. And I swear to God, the expression on his face was like, what the hell was that? Like, even Chewbacca was like, how did we do this? We came from Star Wars to this. It was simply... You have to see this movie. It is... I will watch this again. It is that bad. It's so bad. It's wonderful. Art Carney throws in a little homage to the Honeymooners when he's tinkering with this thing and he's like stalling. Any fans of the Honeymooners out there know what I'm talking about. And then the Imperial Guard is finally like, will you get on with it? Like a little Ralph Cramden, Ed Norton thing. That was great. But yeah, it's a trip. I highly recommend it. Not because it's good, but simply because at the end of your life, you're going to want to say that you watched this, because I guarantee you'll never see anything like it. If for nothing else, Lumpy. Oh, God. Those of you who watch my videos, you know I'm not usually like this. I can usually keep it together. Oh, but Lumpy and Itchy, oh man, I love those guys. Now I can't like look at Chewbacca and not think about his son Lumpy is somewhere else. Anyway, oh God, I'm crying. Yeah, watch this. Please, I would love to know what you think. Please keep the comments and the suggestions coming. As you can tell, I'm having a lot of fun doing this. Click like and subscribe. Let me know what you thought about the holiday special or any other the other ones that I've already reviewed. I'm probably going to be doing the Star Wars, Star Trek in the next coming week, along with Marvel and DC, and my 10 favorite Christmas movies for my recommendations for the coming season. And after that, I'm also thinking maybe touching on the Matrix trilogy, simply with the fourth one coming out. That might be a lot of fun. But yeah, Star Wars Holiday Special, once in a lifetime event. And if you love it like I did, Lumpy. If you loved it like I did, you'll watch it more than once. Thanks for stopping. I'm sorry. Bye for now.